Give unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, and give also what is God's also to God. Do you, Kitty Paquita, and um, do you, Kitty Paquita, and Sped Noodles know what that means? I highly doubt you do because you don't care, right? See, you both are what's problem with this country. See, I went on your pages. Nothing about Alex Preddy or Renee Good or anyone else for that matter. See, it's not that you were ineligible to vote. It's not that you didn't want to vote. Your silence proved it. See, you care more about $1 than that of other people. When was the last time you went outside and protested? When was the last time you ever talked about Donald Trump raping Eugene Carroll on your page? Never, right? Because it wasn't about that. It's because he's white. And that's why we're here as a country. Give that which is Caesar's unto Caesar. Give that which is worldly unto the world. And give also that which is holy unto God. That's the simplest way I can say it. Give that which is worldly unto the world, and give that which is godly unto God. Do you know what that means? It means give your body to God. Because your body, my body, Kitty Paquita's body, and everyone else's body is made in the image of God. Do you want to know what I do every night? Every night when I go to bed, I pray to God. And I say, Lord, I leave my body and everything I have to you. Because I care about not just about my well-being, but I care about other people rather than myself. Because why? Because I give a damn. I give a damn. But see, that's what you don't want to hear, right? You want to hear about, pedophiles and rapists and all that other shit, right? But you don't want to hear about Renee Good. You want to hear about, modern Sonic and, Maya Glaze and all that other shit, right? You want to hear about that on my channel. No, sorry, but I'm not that type of person. I'm not an exposer that sits behind a camera and yaps. I speak about the truth. I expose the darkness of this world. Paul Lance, he exposes the atrocities of Donald Trump. Schlepp, he exposes the atrocities of Roblox. But not a single one of you want to talk about the owner of Discord. Why? Because you rather have that as a hotspot for money. And that's why we're here. You don't care about what happens on Discord. You just care about what goes on in the world, and you think everything's all hunky-dory. So, Kitty Paquita, Sped Noodles, when you stand before God, God is going to point to you all those people that were tragically killed during the Black Death. And he's also going to point to you all those people, including Eugene Carroll, that was raped by Donald J. Trump. And he's going to ask you, why didn't you expose Donald Trump in my name? Didn't I make myself clear? Faith without works is dead. Here's the thing, Kitty Paquita, you rely on works. I rely on faith. And another thing with Sped Noodles, here's the difference between me and her. I rely on other people. You rely on a piece of metal. You rely on your laptop so you can make expose videos about Gia the Dark Angel. You and Kitty Paquita are what's wrong with this country. You care more about a piece of metal than about 14 million kids that go to school hungry. That's why I never heard anything about you guys on your pages. Why? Because not a single damn thing. You never said a damn thing about Renee Good. Y'all have been gone off the internet because y'all knew that as soon as I come back and as soon as I come back, y'all gonna make it seem like it's a bad idea. But no. See, it's GG's now. It's GG's. It's over. You showed your true colors. It's not that you weren't eligible to vote. It's not that you didn't want to vote. Your silence made you vote for Donald Trump. Don't blame me. Blame your silence. We will not remember the voices of our allies, but rather listen to the voices of our enemies. And through our silence, we would rather vote for the adjudicated rapist in the White House that is pickpocketing your wallet over the qualified black woman that literally had concept, that literally had a future of a plan. Donald Trump had concepts of a plan. He had a brain rot of a plan. So I don't want to hear all this about, oh, yes, I'm pro-life. Okay, if you're pro-life, watch what happens on Judgment Day. He's going to point to Eugene Carroll, and he's going to say to you, did you talk about her on my page? Mind you, she's my child. And he's going to say to you, mind you, I don't have the authority to know what Jesus says, but I can tell you this. He is most likely going to ask you, why didn't you talk about these people in my name? Why didn't you talk about Alex Preddy, the guy that died by ICE? Why didn't you talk about George Floyd getting snuffed by a white police officer? Oh, this is you, Kitty Paquita. I believed in you, Lord. I served you. You served me, yes. But a racist podcaster also served me. Does that make sense? What are you talking about? See, you don't get it, Kitty Paquita. The reason why you haven't posted anything is because people see for what you are now. You're a fake predator catcher that thinks that you're the hero of the internet on camera, but off camera, you're just a loser. Same thing with quarterback Jackson Dart. He thinks that he's, everyone's favorite football fan. They kiss his ass. But they now see for what he is. A loser. Just like you, Kenny Paquita. Because you would not do what a Yuji Itadori cosplayer would do. Get his hands dirty. And what I mean by get his hands dirty, I mean beat the pedophile's ass. See, you say you believe in God. Okay, let's roll with that. Satan believes in God. You're saying no, he doesn't. Okay, then. If you're saying no, he doesn't, why aren't you doing what a Yuji Itadori cosplayer does? Because you don't want to. It's not that you couldn't. It's not that you couldn't afford to beat a pedophile's ass. You didn't want to. And that is the reason why we are here as a country. You didn't want to give Caesar's, which is Caesar's. Now, matter of fact, you didn't want to give what was God unto God. You didn't want to surrender to God. You want to surrender to a piece of metal. And let's not forget, you also surrendered to Charlie Kirk. This is him. We are Charlie Kirk. We allow rape in our country. We fight for the gospel and spread all the hate. We are Charlie Kirk. Do you know what the racist podcaster Charlie Kirk said? that dead Americans are worth the cost of the Second Amendment. And that's why we're here. And Katie Piquetas, don't get me started. You say you didn't support Charlie Kirk. Okay. You also wanted to ask what's a man and a woman, which also means you hate transgenders. Right? Didn't your pastor at your church told you to love thy neighbor as thyself? So you don't love transgenders. You don't love transgenders. You hate them. That's why we're here as a country. Because 77 million people, you included, through your silence, went to the crossroads, overlooked rape, overlooked tax fraud, overlooked insurrection acts, overlooked Officer Sicknick and January 6th, and the Trial of Tears, the Middle Passage, where 1.4 million Native Americans died. You sped noodles, and 75 million people were triggered by a black man in the White House. So you went back to what you knew, because you couldn't stomach him sitting outside. You couldn't stomach the fact that Barack Obama was in the White House instead of outside picking your cotton. So you went back to what you knew. So you could shut the fuck up about you being a predator catcher, because you couldn't do shit. A Yuji Itadori cosplayer is more Christian than you. Why? Because he actually gives a damn. But you know what happened? The Yuji Itadori cosplayer that literally beat the ever-living shit out of that pedophile received charges of assault and public nuisance because he was at an anime convention. And you know what? All those people literally stood by and watched it happen instead of joined in to beat his ass. You know, they watched all that shit slide. A Yuji Itadori cosplayer is more Christian than you. And he doesn't even believe in God. You sitting behind a camera and exposing Gia with all this information, being like Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory. Actually, the reason why Gia is a pedophile because she went after children. Okay. Did you talk about Renee Good also? Did you talk about Alex Preddy or how he died? No, because you didn't. You didn't want to make your pedophile, your predator catcher fan base upset. So you decided to go after people that literally had no idea, or mind you, Gia, she didn't even know about what pedophilia was. So again, you went to the crossroads. I'm not calling it the fucking voting booth. You went to the crossroads, overlooked rape, overlooked tax fraud, and yet when you see an Itadori cosplayer beat the ever-living shit out of the pedophile, the child molester, you got triggered. You got triggered because a Yuji Itadori cosplayer did more than what you could have done. And that shows you right there that he gives a damn about the country of Singapore. And he got arrested for assault and public nuisance. But you know what the pedophile got? Compensation. Compensation. And minimal charges. No assault. No nothing. No arrest. No guillotine. Just a simple, hey man, you shouldn't be here. You should walk away. And that's why we're here as a country. So you could shut the fuck up about being a predator catcher. Most of y'all never were predator catchers to begin with, because y'all don't even know how to properly catch a pedophile. Unlike a Yuji Itadori cosplayer that literally beat the ever-living shit out of that pedophile. Almost beat him to death until he was unrecognizable. And that right there is predator poaching. That right there He earns my respect because he did what no one else could. And he cares more about the people than he cares about himself. And that is the reason why we're here. You and Sped Noodles and 75 million people went out to the voting booth and said, fuck you, I'm voting for Trump. That's what you said. Through your silence, you said, fuck you, I'm voting for Trump. Because you wouldn't care. Because you wouldn't give that which is God onto God. You wouldn't surrender to God completely. So you rather surrender a piece of metal onto the earth. Didn't God tell you to build your wealth up in heaven to where moth and rust can't get to them? What are you building? In your content, what are you building? Educational guides on how to catch a predator. That's what you're doing. All of those videos that I've watched on your channel, Kitty, they're not predator catching. They're not, actual beatdowns of fucking predators. Those were fucking educational guides. And that to me is fucking horrid. You say you're a Christian. Then I guess a Yuji Itadori cosplayer is far more Christian than you. Because unlike you, he actually gives a fuck. It's that simple. So if I was you, I would rethink how I approach my content. Not to mention, I would rather go out of my way to beat a pedophile's ass than rather sit behind and watch it happen. Because that's how I am. I'm built like that. See, I was watching the whole EDP 445 video, the whole part where he got caught and shit, right? There was no beatdowns, no nothing. And there were two people that were trying to talk to EDP 445. I was fucking disgusted. I was disgusted because there were no beatdowns. They all just had a conversation. They all just had a conversation and acted like it was fucking normal. Until we give that which is Caesar's unto Caesar's, nothing's going to change. Until we give that which is godly unto God, nothing's going to change. Because why? Because people care more about a piece of metal than they care about God. So, Kitty Paquita, stop claiming that you're a Christian because you're not. You're a modern day Pharisee. You, through your silence, voted for a white evangelical Christian who is an adjudicated rapist, who caused an insurrection, who literally sat on his fat ass while 5 officers were beaten, and 4 of them committed suicide so they won't have to see their families again, who also disrespected Memorial Day, and you are like, yeah, oh my gosh, Donald Trump is so smart. Yes. Oh, yes, he's my daddy. Yes. Because you would rather surrender to a dollar bill of Donald Trump's face than rather surrender to God. Money and technology is your God, not Jesus. Because if Jesus were to return now, he would be sickened by what you predator catchers are doing, having these conversations with these pedophiles. See, let me give you a fucking lesson in Mark chapter 9 verse 42, okay? Whosoever defiles these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for them if a great millstone were hung about their necks and was casted into the sea. Now, you want to hear the context of that, right? Because you say you understand, but you don't have knowledge. So let me give you the context of what that means. Jesus literally showed his literal disgust for pedophiles. In this context, he says, and I quote, in the context version, for whosoever rapes my children, because mind you, we are all made in the image of God. So whosoever rapes my children, their necks are detached from their heads in a guillotine, and their body was casted into the sea. And that is why Jesus hates pedophiles. He hates them. He detests them with a passion. He detests pedophiles with a subtle passion. You think he doesn't? Keep reading Mark chapter 9, verse 42. And keep reading it until you see a detestable meaning as to why he has that much of a disgust with pedophiles. It's the truth. But you don't want to hear the truth, don't you? Because you care more about a piece of dollar. You care more about not making your mom angry. Mind you, this is you, Kitty Paquita. Oh, I can't afford to talk about Donald Trump on my YouTube channel because I don't want to make people upset. Oh, I can't afford to go on a general strike because I don't want to make my mom angry. Oh, I can't go on a general strike because I don't want to make my boyfriend, Firestar Neo, upset. And that is what's wrong with this country. You would rather listen to your boyfriend and care about a dollar bill than rather listen to all those that literally cried for your help. But you never will answer, would you? Eugene Carroll, in which Donald Trump owes $80 trillion for raping her. Mind you, Donald Trump owes Eugene Carroll, a 13-year-old who sued Donald Trump for $80 trillion. And you know what Donald Trump said? He said, fuck you, because he doesn't care. Just like you said, fuck you through your silence and voted for the rapist in the White House. We will not remember the voices of our ally. We will not remember the voices of our allies, but rather listen to the voices of our enemies. Why? Because that is the country that this country was founded off of. Matter of fact, let me educate you, Kitty Paquita. What demographic voted for Trump? White people. What demographic voted for the Insurrection Act? White people. What does Donald Trump want in every state? White America. See a trend? I highly doubt you do because you're blind. You don't have eyes to see. You're blind. Let's just be really honest. But I'm pretty sure, let's just be real. You voted for an adjudicated rapist anyway. You would rather vote for an adjudicated rapist than rather a qualifying black woman. See, in 16 and 20, I voted for both John McCain and Barack Obama. Why? Because of decency and morality. I didn't like their policies, but they were decent people that give a shit about putting pedophiles on a guillotine to make America better. What you voted for was for racism to come back, was for Jim Crow 2.0, was for the gerrymandering of states so that black people couldn't vote. You want to know, in 1960s, which demographic weren't allowed to vote? Oh, right, women. Who voted for those women to not vote? You guessed it, white people. When when will black people ever vote? In what year? Oh, right. 1776. Until when? 1960s. Why? White supremacy. See, you and Spend Noodles, there's a big gap between you and I. You care more about a piece of metal through your silence. I care about the people. I care about for the people, by the people, we, the people of the United States. I abide not just by God's law, I abide which I give that which is godly unto God. And I give also that which is Caesar's unto Caesar's. You give that which is Baal and Moloch unto Baal and Moloch. You don't care. Let's just be real. You don't care. You will rather, and let's also be real. You wouldn't do what a Yuji Itadori cosplayer would do, right? Because you would rather sit behind your little computer and yap, like you're Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory and not give a shit. Why? Because, yeah, you say you're pro-life. Okay, let's roll with that. Imagine on Judgment Day, and I pray to God, and I swear on my gravestone, I swear on my raptured body, I swear on my raptured body, I swear on my incorruptible body, I swear that I am there with popcorn. And you and Kitty Paquita and all those fake predator catchers, as well as MAGA, they're going to stand before God. And you too. And I am dying to eat some popcorn while you guys sit around and lie through your teeth and say that you did help Eugene Carroll while Donald Trump was raping her. Right? I dare y'all to lie through your mouth and say that you cared about those 14 million kids that go to school hungry. What is the number one cause of death in active schools and restaurants? Oh, don't click away because this might trigger you. Gun violence. What is the one country that has more metal than people? America. What does Europe have? Oh no, he's gonna say it. Oh no, if he says it, he's a threat to the United States. Oh no, if he says the line, if he says the word, Josh is a threat to the United States. Oh. Universal child care. So I'm a threat to the United States, all because Europe has universal child care, right? Europe has universal child care. Europe has no active shooter drills. They don't have gun violence. See, there's also a difference between you and I, Katie Paquita. See, I criticize America. You criticize transgender athletes in college sports. You care more about a piece of metal and a dollar bill than other people. When was the last time you went outside and protested? When was the last time you said Renee Good? Wow, when was the last time you cared about Alex Preddy and Renee Good? When was the last time? When was the last time? I'm waiting. Come on. Answer me that question. When was the last time you went outside and protested? Let me answer for you. Never. Because I don't see that on your page. I don't see you talking about Renee Good on your page, and you say you're a Christian. I don't see you talking about Alex Freddie on your page, and you say you're a Christian. When, Kitty Paquita? When? I don't see you spreading awareness about Donald J. Trump raping Eugene Carroll on your page. I don't see you doing that. Oh, right. Because you couldn't. Because you would rather sit by and watch it all happen than you would rather be like those people that have their phones out and say, let her go, instead of walking up to Trump and beating the ever living shit out of him. And that is the reason why we are here as a country. Because we let our content be the issue of this country. We let the content be the issue, not the platform. See, didn't God also said that, like, what is the greatest commandment of all? What are the two greatest commandments of all time? Kitty, you're a Christian, right? You should know this. The greatest commandment is to trust the Lord with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul. But he also said this, and the second is like unto these: ye shall love thy neighbor as yourself. These commandments sum up the law of Moses. Where were you when you loved your neighbor? Did you give a shit about your neighbor? No. Did you give a shit about Alex Purdy? No. Did you give a shit about Renee Good? No. Did you give a shit about Breonna Taylor? No. It's not because of the price of eggs. It's because of white. That's why. That's why we are here as a country. Your silence voted for the adjudicated rapist in the White House, not because he was a great man, because he was white. And that is the reason why nobody has ever paid attention to your channels. No one has ever watched your channels. No one has ever understood you. Because why? Because they see for what you are. You care more about a piece of metal and about Discord being a hotspot than rather Alex Purdy and Renee Good dying. Right? This is you, Kitty Paquita. Oh, Renee Good got shot? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a Christian. There's nothing I can do. Like, all I can say is thoughts and prayers instead of this. Hey guys, it's me, Kitty Paquita, and today I want to talk about Alex Purdy and Renee Good on my channel because I care about them. There was no mention of that on your channel, as well as Sped Noodles. There was nothing on their channels that literally said that. Why? Because they care more about catching predators than rather talk about a Yuji Itadori cosplayer that literally beat both Sped Noodles and Kitty Paquita to the punch. Oh, broke blade or broken blade. Broke blade. But yeah, you, Sped Noodles, and 75 million people out of 340 million were triggered by a black man in the White House instead of outside picking your cottons. So you went back to what you knew, the plantation. So before I go, Kitty Paquita and Sped Noodles, I'll leave you with this. First, they came for the VTubers, but I'm not a VTuber, so I didn't say anything. Then they came for Alex Preddy. But my name isn't Alex Preddy, so I didn't say anything. And yes, I'm gonna bring you into it too. Then they came for Kitty Paquita, but my name isn't Kitty Paquita, so I didn't say anything. Or Kitty Productions for that matter. Then they came for Sped Noodles, but I'm not Sped Noodles, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for Joshua, a reminder of Jesus' salvation, and there was no one left to help me, because I was stoned to death. And that's why we're here as a country. You two are what's wrong with this country. So you can continue pretending that y'all are predator catchers while a Yuji Itadori cosplayer beats you to the punch by beating a pedophile up rather than sitting behind a camera and talking about it as if it was a professional fucking brochure guide. That's the reason why we're here. And mind you, I'll say this once again. Give that which is in the world unto give that which is worldly unto the world, but give also that which is godly unto God. That means give up your worldly possessions, give in to the poor, and follow me, just as Jesus said to the rich man. But you wouldn't do it because you care more about a piece of metal than you care about Alex Preddy, Renee Good, and Breonna Taylor, a black woman. So have yourselves a white day and have the day you voted for in your silence.